Okay, so next we're going to add a Next.js application into the TypeScript mono-repository. And in the later section, we're going to then deploy this Next.js application to AWS using SST and OpenNext. But for now, let's just have a look at importing this into, or creating a new Next.js application inside our TypeScript mono-repo. So unlike a static site, Next.js usually will be used with a server. So how it runs and then how it will eventually be deployed is slightly different because we have React code which can run on the client as well as the server, which means that when you are running it, it needs to be a running application and can do server-side rendering, as opposed to just spitting out a bunch of static JavaScript files which can be uploaded to S3. So first things first, we're going to create this Next.js application inside the mono repository, just like the Vite app. It's going to be inside the apps directory because it's an app which will actually be deployed. In order to create a Next.js application, you can obviously just do like create next app. If you just Google this, then you'll find you can use these commands here. However, I'm going to use a different starter project, which is T3. T3 stack comes from a guy called Theo. Look at the T3 stack, yeah. So Theo, thoroughly recommend this guy. Done a lot of cool stuff on everything TypeScript, React, JavaScript. And one project is basically well, the best way to start a full stack TypeScript Next.js application. It says it here, right? So this is going to have a lot of boilerplate in, which we're going to reuse. So it's going to be a bit faster for us rather than creating a brand new Next application from scratch. So I can click here, click on yarn to copy that, cd into the apps directory again. And I'm going to paste here, yarn create T3 app. Okay, what will your project be called? Let's call it next app. TypeScript. Will you be using Tailwind? No, for now. Would you like to use TRPC? Yes. Which authentication would you like to use? Next auth. Would you like to use an ORM? Nope. Would you like to use the Next.js app router? Okay, this is a new one. I'm gonna put, yeah. Okay, shall we initialize Git? No, because we already have Git. Should we run yarn? No, because we're gonna run that from the root directory. What alias would you like to use? We'll just say, okay, sure. Okay. Nice. So now let's, okay, there's a git ignore here again, so we can just remove it because we don't need that. And we can go into the package JSON and inside, just like we did for the Vite app, we can go next app. Okay, cool. So now if I go to the root directory again and run yarn install, it's going to install all the dependencies inside this new package as well. And this is where something like yarn upgrade interactive is useful, because now we could go through and make sure that all of our packages are on the same version of React, for example. Okay, so that's done. And because the scripts match up, so we have the dev, the lint start. Now if I run yarn dev from my root directory, okay, yeah. We just need to go into the M file, and for now, I'll just give a bogus client ID and client secret because this is needed for starting up the application. We're going to replace Discord with something else in a bit, so we don't actually need that. But for now, just to get the application to run, we just have to provide configuration. And if I start this up, then you can see that my next app is being started on localhost 3000. And we already have TRPC, which is our app client, and app server, which is saying hello here. We can see the page, and I guess if we come in here, you can also see in the network that we are getting the entire page rendered as a server-side rendered application here. So the HTML is coming through here and being served to the page from our server. So yeah, the application is working, and we have now successfully added a next app into the Mono-Repo. There's actually one more thing we need in the environment, which is the auth secret, the next auth secret, which is going to be used later when we're using next auth to log into this application. So you can see here how it can be generated. It's essentially just a random, or not random, but a generated key. So if we go to the terminal, we can create one like this and specify that in the configuration here. Okay, and then we can do the same like we did for the Vite app. So, which is we can configure lint to use the in the common lint configuration from the entire repository. So in here, instead of extending from these extends, we can extend from custom, which is going to inherit the lint configuration from the root, which is the same one that's being inherited into the Vite app as well. So we can share the same lint across the entire repository. So now, now I've done that, I believe I can run yarn lint. And if I open up my page as well, you can see that there is stuff happening here. So lint is actually going to complain about some stuff. So I'm getting some lint errors. So I can actually, I think if I do yarn, so lint fix, so minus dash dash fix. And then in TRPC to pass the command down to everything, we do like this. So it's actually, if you want to pass the fix command down to lint everywhere, then we can run it like this. And you can see that that was automatically fixed. And there are still a couple of errors here. So this is still complaining. I'll just disable this for the file for now. And if I run it again, you see there's a couple of warnings. So there's an error here as well. So for this one, I can actually so you can disable it for the. So this is how you could disable for this line, but we can actually disable for if we don't care about this rule for just this workspace. We can go into the ESLint configuration and we can just turn it off here. Like that. So now, hopefully, if I go back to here, you see there's no error anymore because we've turned it off for this package. Let's run this again. So you can see now we have the lint running and it's changing files in the next app, and it's also going to run in all the other apps as before as well. So now we have the lint set up for the new Next.js application. And finally, if we want also, just like we did for the Vite application, tsconfig. We can do extends and root directory as well. So to extend the tsconfig too. So this is also shared across the repository, and then just we extend. This could also be cleaned up so that you're not actually extending, so you're not overriding properties which you're already using. So for example here, like if in the base directory, it already says strict, it doesn't need to say strict here as well, right? But I'll leave that like that for now and check it still works. Yeah, still working. Okay, good. So now we've imported the Next.js application and we have just set up the common configuration so that we can share the configuration for lint and also tsconfig.